Me and Marvin Gardens, Chapter 16, Gunshots and Pterodactyls. There was a gunshot. It woke me up. In my family, we didn't hunt. It's not that we were against hunting, it's just that my mom and dad never hunted as kids, so we weren't hunters. A lot of kids around the area were hunters. In fact, in my school, we were allowed, as students, 2 days off per year to go hunting during hunting season. But hunting season wasn't in April, not as far as I remembered. There was another gunshot, and I got scared for Marvin Gardens. I threw on whatever clothes were on the tops of the clothing piles in my room and ran down the hallway and the steps out the back door. I didn't know what time it was, but I knew it was early, and someone was shooting. Only when I got outside and to the creek did I realize that the gunshots had stopped. Only when I saw Marvin Gardens wandering around out in Phase 3 did I realize that I'd run outside in a pair of ridiculous, too short, cowboy themed pajama pants and a pink t shirt that was Bernadette's. I guess I should have paid more attention when I was getting dressed. Marvin saw me but didn't come over. I decided to change before I got caught wearing pajamas outside. "Hey, cowboy," Dad said when I walked in the door. "Oh, hey, up early? I heard the shooting. So you went to the saloon to have a shootout?" I just, I wondered what was going on. It's the wrong time of year for hunters. "Probably somebody shooting crows." "Not many crows around anymore," I said. I went to my room and put on normal clothes, and then I went back downstairs. Dad was still sitting on the den couch reading the Sunday paper. He didn't have to work on Sundays. Mom had to work every other Sunday, but this was her Sunday off. That meant a Sunday roast for dinner at around 2 o'clock. That's how Mom grew up, and that's how she was raising us. Sundays were for eating dinner at 2 o'clock. "I'm going out to play," I said. "You ready for that math test tomorrow?" "Yep." "Be back for Sunday dinner," he said. As I walked out the door, he said, "Have you even had breakfast yet?" But I pretended not to hear him. I stopped at the recycling bin for plastic, and there was a milk jug and a sour cream container. I put them in a plastic bag, hoping to find more in the creek so I could start my experiment on Marvin and which foods he liked best. But Marvin wasn't anywhere, not by the creek, not in Phase 3, where I picked up 2 small pieces of plumbing tubing and a small plastic water bottle. Not even down by the railroad tracks where we went the night before. I was just a kid walking around with a bag full of plastic, looking for an animal no one knew existed. Talk about problems. I heard voices coming from the woods and wanted to go in and spy on the other kids. Instead, I left my bag of recycling by the creek and walked the sidewalks down through Oak Trail and the orchards. I took a right up the main road and noted the ironic names of the side streets: Macintosh Way, Ambrosia Road, Pippin Lane, Jonathan Road, all varieties of apples that Mr. Willard used to grow here. I slowed down as I went by Annie's house on the corner of Orchard Way and Pippin. I heard something squeaking, and I peeked into her backyard and saw her alone on her swing set. Annie had a real swing set, almost like the kind at real playgrounds, not one of those mini backyard kinds. Her back gate had a lock on it, a real lock, because her parents didn't let her leave the backyard on account of them thinking she could get kidnapped. That was the one thing that made my friendship with Annie different from my friendship with Tommy. Annie couldn't really have adventures like Tommy and me had. "Hi, Annie," I said and waved. She slowed down her swing and hopped off. We sat on her front porch and she said, "Want to play a board game or something?" "I'd love to swing," I said. "I've been swinging for an hour. It's kind of boring." "Not if you swing with another person," I said. "When we had a swing set, Bernadette and I used to have contests who could swing highest." We went into her backyard and locked the gate behind us. Then we swung for about an hour, and she got up so high the swing set jumped and she squealed a few times. I said, "You never swing highest by yourself, you know." "That's deep, Obe." "They call me the hippie. They call me putrid. You're not putrid." I heard another gunshot as we swung, but I figured maybe people were setting off firecrackers or something. Then I saw a group of kids walking around the orchards, and I didn't think anything of it until I recognized Tommy, standing by himself on the corner, arms crossed, glaring at Annie and me swinging. The first thing I thought was, good, let him be mad. The second thing I thought was how fun it was to swing and how not fun it was to walk around acting cool. Tommy must have seen me notice him, so he left. Then I heard another shot, and I know either Mike had his BB gun or they were setting off firecrackers on a boring Sunday afternoon. I was still happier to be on the swings with Annie, but I was worried too. If Mike could shoot his own brother in the foot, who knew what else he'd shoot at for a laugh? I gave Annie the signal to slow down. I did a fancy jump once my swing was low enough. Annie tried the same but fell when she landed. You okay? I asked. Just twisted my ankle a little bit. Annie, are you okay? Her mom said from the back sliding door. I'm fine, Mom. Come inside for a snack. Annie headed inside, and I stopped and stared at the yard for a minute until I remembered. Rubber pterodactyl, back right-hand corner. They'd built a shed on top of it. Annie got lucky. That pterodactyl was one of my favorite toys when I was little. I was glad it was under her shed. Annie's dad was baking snickerdoodle cookies and they smelled like the breakfast I'd skipped. Annie showed me her rock collection. And I got a tumbler, she said, and brought out her rock tumbler. Annie's mom leaned over the table and dangled the necklace pendant Annie made from her first batch of polished rocks. Annie said, It's calcite from Mexico. Mr. Bell said, Anyone want a cookie? It wasn't an hour and a half until Sunday dinner, but I was starving, so I ate far too many snickerdoodles, which made my stomach feel weird, but I didn't regret it. Want to play Monopoly? Annie asked. No, thanks. Oh. I'd play something else. It's just, I play Monopoly a lot at home and I'm kind of sick of it. Uno? Sure. Play to 500? I looked at the clock on their kitchen wall. I have to be home in an hour. We just played for fun and didn't score the games. The whole time I thought about my rubber pterodactyl. I used to bring it all the way out here before it was phase one, before it was the orchards, and Tommy and I would play dinosaur wars. We'd make mountains out of the dirt and valleys, and sometimes if it rained, the dinosaurs would all drink from the puddles. I thought about telling Annie about Marvin too. She was my best friend, but I didn't think she knew it. And best friends should share stuff with each other, but I still wanted Marvin to myself. It felt wrong, but lately I was getting used to feeling wrong. An hour passed. I said thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Bell and said goodbye to Annie, and when I got to the front porch, I touched my fingers to my nose and saw blood. I rang their doorbell and Annie gave me a stack of tissues. Her mom tried to make a big deal out of my nosebleed and suggested that she should drive me home, but Annie told her I got them all the time.